Fundamentals of Real Estate Exam Prep Flashcards, 36 questions with explained answers. Flashcard 1. Term, legal suite. Definition: suite that meets the current land use bylaw requirements and that has been built with the property permits. Flashcard 2. Term, professional conduct review outcomes. Definition: advisory note, is for a technical breach. Letters on reprimand, issued when there is a conductdisvaring of sanction. Hearings, may be held when the breach are more severe. Temporary suspension, when the conduct is a serious nature. Flashcard 3. Term, written service agreements. Definition: outlines the roles and responsibilities of the parties, clarifies the expectations of each party, helps to ensure that the relationship between the industry professional and client is understood. Flashcard 4. Term, market bubble. Definition: temporary situation in the business cycle where prices for a product becomes overflat beyond its realistic value due to excessive consumer confidence. Flashcard 5. Term, standard of care is measured by. Definition: professional standards, professional norms and practices, expert testimony. Flashcard 6. Term, surface rights. Definition: rights associated with physical ground, top layer of land. Flashcard 7. Term, sections. Definition: each township is divided into sections. The 36 square miles of a township, 6 miles east-west by 6 miles north-south, are further divided into 36 sections, each 1 mile apart. Flashcard 8. Term, termination or discharge of contracts. Definition: performance, mutual agreement, frustration, operation of law, breach. Flashcard 9. Term, consideration. Definition: is something of value to a party to the contract in exchange for the services the promised in the contract. Consideration must be lawful. Consideration cannot be past consideration. Contracts without consideration, but made under seal, may still bind the parties. Flashcard 10. Term, curtain principle. Definition: means that the current title contains all the info about the title including interests registered on title. Flashcard 11. Term, 5 Ds of role clarity and consistency. Definition: 5 Ds of role clarity and consistency. 1. Discuss. 2. Determine. 3. Document. 4. Disclose. 5. Do. Flashcard 12. Term, competition law. Definition: conspiracies among competitors are anti-competitive agreements intended to restrict trade through unfair business practice. X. Price fixing, market division, service restriction, service refusal. Flashcard 13. Term, payments to the lender. Definition: the lender collects the property taxes and pays them on behalf of the property owner, borrower, generally seen in case of high-ratio mortgages. Flashcard 14. Term, upon completion, the practice reviewer will. Definition: written summary of the practice review findings. Flashcard 15. Term, inducements. Definition: anything that is offered or provided by the brokerage to persuade a person to enter into a particular real estate or mortgage transaction. Flashcard 16. Term, undivided land. Definition: is described by geographical references, meridian, range, township, section, quarter section and legal subdivision, LSD. Flashcard 17. Term, personal property. Definition: items that can be removed without damaging to the property. Flashcard 18. Term, tenancy in common. Definition: 2 or more owners on the title. Each person can have unequal shares in the property. There is no right of survivorship. Tenants in common can will their share to anyone. When the tenant in common dies, that person's share in the property goes to his or her estate and does not automatically transfer to the other person on title. A tenancy in common may be terminated by agreement between the parties to sell one tenant's interest another tenant or third party. Flashcard 19. Term, statute of frauds. Definition: requires certain contracts to be in writing and signed by all the parties bound by the contract. An statute of frauds applies to contracts involving the sale or transfer of land, contracts to answer for the department or duty of another, contracts that by agreement cannot be completed within 1 year. Flashcard 20. Term, unilateral mistake. Definition: that occurs when one party holds an erroneous belief and the other party, knowing it to be erroneous, does not correct that understanding. Flashcard 21. Term, duty-based ethics. Definition: focus on the intention behind the individual's actions as opposed to the consequence. Flashcard 22. Term, mirror principle. Definition: means that a current title accurately reflects the current facts about the title of the property. Therefore, all the current interests related to any particular property are reflected in the current title. Flashcard 23. Term, quantum merit. Definition: when the injured party has done part but not all of what was promised under the terms of the contract, the court may order the other party to pay the injured party the reasonable value for the services performed. Flashcard 24. Term, 3 main objectives of professional conduct review. definition. To gather all relevant info in order to make an informed decision, to treat all parties courteously, fairly and impartially, to gather info efficiently. Flashcard 25. Term, competing interests, common law, definition. When the brokerage represents two or more buyers who wants to write an offer on the same property. Flashcard 26. Term, representation relationships, definition. In any agency relationships, the third party being represented by another party is known as the principal. An agent is the party acting on behalf of the principal's behalf. Client equals principal, customer equals third party. Flashcard 27. Term, title insurance, definition. Protects the property owner against financial loss as a result of some title as well as some non-title related issues. Any no defects or problems regarding the property must be disclosed to the insurer before purchasing a title insurance policy. May cover some non-title related issues. Lack of building permits. Some lenders accept title insurance in lieu of an RPR for the property. Provides gap coverage between submission and registration of docs at the title's office. Flashcard 28. Term, the regulations, definition. The amendments or interpretations to sections of the Act and are made by the Minister of Service Alberta or by the Lieutenant Governor in Council. Flashcard 29. Term, retransactions involving guardians and trustees. When working with a trustee or a guardian, reps must. Definition. Obtain a copy of the trust agreement and read it carefully. Verify that the agreement has been properly executed. Pull title. Verify the identity of the representative and ensure they have the legal authority to act on the individual's behalf. Retain a copy of the legal docs. Must be kept in the brokerage file. Guardians do not have authority to make decisions regarding the person's real property and therefore would not be registered on title. Flashcard 30. Term, contracts under seal, definition. Contracts are under seal are valid and enforceable. There is no consideration. Only one party may sign the contract. The person has to be advised that they are signing a contract under seal. X on contracts under seal will, and POA. Flashcard 31. Term, joint tenancy, definition. Each person has equal share in the property as a whole and the ownership cannot be divided. Each owner has the right of survivorship. If one dies, that person's share automatically passes to the other person on title. Joint tenants cannot their share to anyone else, most often used for married couples. Flashcard 32. Term, professional standards are responsible for, definition. Trust assurance fund, professional conduct review program, professional conduct proceedings program. Flashcard 33. Term, restrictive covenants, definition. Imposed by a developer or subdivision to restrict the land to certain uses. X. Restrictions on building height, setback requirements, fence height, siding or roofing materials. Easements, UROW, restrictive covenants, easements all run with the land, which means they stay on title when the property is sold and transfer to the new owner. Flashcard 34. Term, Torrens system. The three key principles, definition. Mirror principle, curtain principle, insurance principle. Flashcard 35. Term, easement, definition. Is a right to use land in common with others. X. Overland drainage easement, utility right-of-way, roads, walkway, maintenance access and parking rights. Flashcard 36. Term, lender policy, definition. For the benefits of the mortgage lender, covers title-related issues like fraud.